Hello again, everyone. This is Spec Son coming at you. I know it's been quite some time since I put out a video pertaining to pro wrestling, but I feel like this is the time to do it. I'm just in the mood. Got my Gamecocks playing the Auburn Tigers right now. Got a little commercial break going on. Thought I should come out here, enjoy the beautiful weather, and talk about some aspect of pro wrestling with you for another edition of Spec Commentaries. It's been quite some time. I'm glad to be back talking pro wrestling, the industry that I love and have loved ever since I was a toddler. But this edition of Spec Commentaries is going to deal with the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. Many fans know him, some fans may not. Those who have been watching pro wrestling for around 15 or so years know who he is. Mark Henry, huge, near 400-pound African-American wrestler who wrestles for the World Wrestling Entertainment. Has been with them since 1996, 15 years. Hard to believe. And currently he is the World Heavyweight Champion, currently contracted or wherever you want to call it, wrestling for the SmackDown brand. But if anybody's been paying attention to the WWE recently over the last 3 or 4 months, know that all of the top wrestlers are pretty much interchangeable. Mid-card wrestlers too, wrestle on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. But Mark Henry defeated Randy Orton at Night of Champions just several weeks ago and became the World Heavyweight Champion, and he won it clean. Very rarely in pro wrestling do you have a heel win a championship or a match of any caliber these days clean, and it was really cool to see Mark Henry do that. I love the build. I'll talk about that very, very shortly. But I just want to get this out. You know, many people, and you can include me into this as well. I've said that Mark Henry was an underachiever over the years. He's been in comedy gimmicks that have worked, but they never have its longevity. Or, in my opinion, I don't think the company has been completely behind pushing the guy fully. But you got to blame Mark Henry on some of that too. He's had injuries over the past. He has been in some decent storylines, but never any storylines where he was the major focal point guy that you knew that, all right, this storyline is going to propel him to something even bigger and better down the road. He's had matches with The Undertaker. He had a match at WrestleMania 22 against him at WrestleMania 22 in Chicago, Illinois in 2006. That really didn't get anybody excited about that. I mean, Taker had a cool spot in that match, but as far as Mark Henry, I don't think anybody really thought Mark Henry was going to win that match. He was involved with the Nation of Domination in '98, and he had his tag team with D'Lo Brown in '99, and so on and so forth. So Mark Henry has been involved in the WWE landscape in some capacity over the last 15 years. I mean, he's taken some time off in between there from the business, and as I said, injuries as well. He has gone, previously OVW and different WWE developmental organizations and tried to hone his skills. But Mark Henry, for the most part, has always been seen as a guy who was either an underachiever or someone who was just, really wasn't entertaining in the ring. Now, to me, I've always been a Mark Henry fan. I think Mark Henry has always had a certain intangible about him as a big man that, if the WWE can push him the right way, and I mean by pushing him the right way is not making him seem like a big goof like the Big Show has over the last several years, which is another problem I have with him. Too much of a goof and not enough of a big man persona that, like this guy, if I mess with him, I'm going to be in trouble. And easily somebody who could be the World Heavyweight Champion or the WWE Champion, whatever you want to call it, if given the fair shake, chance to actually do it. Mark Henry was never, ever really given a fair shake to be a top champion in the business. He has had some matches, but the WWE never, ever put all of their chips, and they never put all their chips and their focus on making Mark Henry a top guy who could be a World Heavyweight Champion and believable. The best thing that ever happened to Mark Henry happened earlier this year when he was drafted to SmackDown and he turned on his Raw friends and became a just dominant heel character. And this is what Mark Henry needed to be all along. He looks the part. His music's awesome. Somebody's going to get their ass kicked, and Mark Henry is the kind of guy who's going to kick your ass. I'm loving the fact I'm not seeing him smile and smirk. He's just going to the ring, and he's beating people up. Kind of like what Sid Vicious did in the 1990 and 91, the skyscrapers, what Vader did in 1992 in WCW, and I kind of compare what happened with Mark Henry and Randy Orton at Night of Champions with Sting and Big Van Vader in 1992 at the Great American Bash in Baltimore. Vader went over clean against Sting, very convincing fashion. Sting looked outmatched, and it was just Vader looked the part, and they gave him the run to be the champion, and they did it the right way. The same thing happened with Mark Henry at Night of Champions just a few weeks ago, in which he defeated Randy Orton clean in the ring with his finishing move. It was a fantastic way for the WWE to push Mark Henry. Way too many times in pro wrestling these days, we have seen heels, big guy wrestlers, not get over the way they should get over. If I see a 250-pound athlete face a 378-pound athlete, I know in my mind, and I know, wrestling choreographed and everything, but you have to suspend disbelief. And bottom line is, I know that 300-plus pound guy can kick that 240-plus pound guy's ass any day of the week. If I know the way they have been building him up, the way he has been looking and coming off as a tough asshole, I know he's going to work. And I know that he's going to beat that dude in front of him. And he doesn't need to cheat to do it. It's not like you're talking about a coward heel who's 225 pounds against this 250-pound babyface. Of course, he's going to cheat to win. He's going to find a way to do it and try to swill out of the situation. But this is completely different when you're talking about Mark Henry. So I was very, very happy to see him win the belt clean, and then cutting a great promo with Josh Matthews after the match, and also cutting the promo before the match saying, "I'm going to beat Randy Orton. That's all there is to it." And he goes out and he beats him, and then he cuts another promo. And now Mark Henry, the destruction he has done over the last 2 weeks, beating up Jerry the King Lawler, putting him through that stiff table. Good looking out, WWE creative, for screwing that one up. Stiff table for real. I mean, come on. As many of you probably don't know or do know, WWE messed up on that little storyline there with Mark Henry and Jerry Lawler at the beginning of Raw. Jerry Lawler was powerbombed. He suffered a world's strongest slam with Mark Henry, and outside near the commentating area, like they used to do with the Spanish announce tables. Well, this table wasn't a gimmick table, and in essence, it was actually a real table. And boom, Jerry Lawler's back just right through that thing. Just stupid. Come on, WWE, you should know better than that. But Mark Henry came across as a bad SOB. You don't want to mess with him. He's a champ now, and he's laying down the law. Fast forward to yesterday, the SmackDown tapings for Tuesday, and this is Saturday. You had Mark Henry against the Great Khali, and Mark Henry beats Khali. He messes up his leg, and then the realism and the symbolism, it's really symbolic on how they're building Mark Henry during the show. At the end of the show, Randy Orton has an awesome match with Christian. Cody Rhodes comes down, and then Mark Henry comes down to try to, basically Randy Orton slim picking, so he wants to just beat him up before their Hell in a Cell match this Sunday. And Mark Henry tries to do the same thing to Randy Orton, mess up Randy Orton's ankle and mess up Randy Orton's back and whatnot, just like he did Khali earlier in the show. And then Randy Orton turns the tables and tries to RKO Mark Henry. He doesn't get it done, and Mark Henry, the world's strongest slam on Randy Orton, and then out of nowhere, Randy Orton hits the RKO after Randy Orton really sold those moves by Mark Henry, and it gave you a sense that, okay, Randy Orton is really up against that Hell in a Cell for the world title, but there is a slim chance he could win. Now, I don't know if he's going to win or not. That is this Sunday, but I am very, very pleased with the WWE for building the storyline between Randy Orton and Mark Henry. Wherever you Randy Orton haters out there want to say about him, he is one of the most over guys in the business, and he is a fantastic face. The crowds love him. He was wrestling in his hometown in St. Louis. I do believe, I will say that. But he is a very, very, very popular babyface. I think his best run ever has been during as a face. I think he gets the most response out of the crowd, and I think it's because they respect the way he can work. Randy Orton is pretty much a heel-like character being cheered by a lot of fans because a lot of fans like his style. And a lot of fans are hating on Mark Henry in the right way. They really, I mean, this is just a classic storyline between Randy Orton and Mark Henry that's going very well. I just hope the WWE does not take that belt away from Mark Henry at all. I think that Mark Henry should be the World Heavyweight Champion for at least into the Royal Rumble. I really do. I think Mark Henry is a great, great talent that's finally, after 15 years, coming into his own and showing the whole world the promise that the WWE had in 1996 when they signed him, and it's all coming to fruition right now because Mark Henry's dedicated and because the WWE is dedicated in pushing him. And that is a very, very, those are two very, very important facets in how it should go, which is completely opposite what's going on with CM Punk on Raw. Punk is dedicated, but I don't think that the WWE brass is dedicated to push him the right way. And now you see this cluster of a storyline between, basically it's become the Triple H show on Raw. But that's all I wanted to say on Spec Commentaries, on this edition of Spec Commentary. I know it's been a long time, but I just wanted to get that out of my chest. I'm very pleased, regardless of all the crap that I've seen from TNA and WWE over the last 2 or 3 months. I'm very, very pleased to see what's been going on right now with Mark Henry. This is one thing that they're doing right. I hope they continue to do it right. Mark Henry is a major player right now. Let's hope that he stays a major player, stays the World Heavyweight Champion until around Royal Rumble or even extended. I don't care, but I like what they're doing right now with Mark Henry. What are your thoughts about this? Is Mark Henry a interesting character to you right now? Do you enjoy the heel Mark Henry talking trash and beating up people and taking names, kicking ass, and all that other stuff? Or would you rather have the lovable and likable Mark Henry that really didn't do anything for you? Anyway, that's all I have for Spec Commentaries in this edition of Spec Commentaries. Make sure you tune in to In Your Head Wrestling Radio, IYHWrestling.com. That's the place to be, folks, to find all your information about the business and hang out with Jack and 1 Inch Biceps with their radio show every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's right, IYHWrestling.com. I'm Spec Son, and I'll see you next time on Spec Commentaries and all the other shows available on B-Spec Productions. Peace out, peeps, and I'll see you later.